These people were listening, and they were applauding, and they were standing, giving me standing ovations, and I bought into this opportunity 100%. I mean, everybody wants to be applauded. And so after those forced, required naps on the bed, I came to the conclusion that I could not wait until I was 50 years old. When I was 10, I wanted to be 50. When I was 20, I wanted to be 50. I just could not wait. When I was 30, I wanted to be 50. When I was 40, I wanted to be 50, because I knew when I got to be 50 years old, I was going to be a queen. Unchallenged. I was going to be speaking to hundreds of people, and they would be applauding and saying bravo to the things that I was doing. What an opportunity you're giving me! Here I have an opportunity to stand in front of people and do exactly what my dream said that I was going to do. And with those really kind introductions, and I'm going to be bodacious and do some bragging, because what I'm here for today is to get you to do similar things about your life. I have been working really hard to have this reputation, so that when I got to be 50 years old and I was standing in front of you, and of course I'm older than 50 now, that in fact it would be the same kind of dream that I had that I was coming along. But then we have an opportunity now that I've been talking about. And that opportunity started in 1946 at the end of World War II. All these soldiers came home, they had sex, and boom, the baby boomer generation was born. We've never seen anything like it. Today, there are 77 million baby boomers. Born in 1946, the list is very long. Susan Taylor, Suzanne Summers, Danny Glover, Donald Trump, goes on and on and on. Just people who were born in 1946. I was born in 46, have created a demographic bulge. If you were to look at the landscape of the ages in the United States, it goes boom, up and back down, because there are so many baby boomers. We remodeled the society. We talked about peace. We talked about civil rights. We talked about gender. And now we're talking about non-retirement living, a movement category of people who are here in the United States. So what an opportunity. The people are living longer. The life expectancy in 1946 was 64 years. Today it is 77 years. We are healthier. One of the things that I say to people is that medicine is in the business of not letting us die. That's what they're doing. You go to see your doctor, he wants you to live. He wants you to recuperate. Everything we read is about letting us live. And we are vigorous. We are still running. I have an IT who is running to the mailbox every day. We're trotting along. We're joining all kinds of exercise programs so that we can become exactly what we want to be. Now, as I listened to my conversations about baby boomers and what they did to the world and how the world was growing around them, I found that people of other ages were just as interested. My greatest shock was at Spelman College, where I worked. Here, women between the ages of 17 and 23 years old, and when I started talking about aging in America, what used to be and what is coming, they were just as attentive as the baby boomers I thought I was designing my work to address. And then above those students who were at Spelman College, there was the next 25 years and the next 25 years, and those people were listening just as attentively as anything else that I could have done. And so what I did was, I came up with the concept that we're talking about today, which is a life in 4 quarters. I called my creative son, who is in And what I know as an athlete, Mama, is that the life is not won. The game is not won until the fourth quarter. He said, Mama, what I know about the game is that the first quarter matters for the fourth. And the fourth quarter matters for the first. The same thing is true for the second, and the same thing is true for the third, and you can't even have a game unless you have the four quarters that you are working on in front of you. My son said, life does not fall apart, Mom, as you go along, and it does not fall apart in the end. No matter what the game is, in the end, life has come together. He said, Mama, with every quarter, what the coaches said to us was, this quarter is the beginning of a new game. That you can come out of a quarter, and then all of a sudden, Mama, you got the beginning of a new life. If you think about life in four quarters. Each quarter, he said, is a lifetime because you play it. You play it for its beginning. You play it for the lessons you're going to learn. You play it for the end of it. And it's those four separate lessons in life learning that you put together for your total life. And so what we're going to do today is that I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the four quarters. I'm going to tell you a little bit about James Smith. And what I hope that we will be able to do as we leave today is to reset ourselves, and I'm going to give you an exercise for that as we begin to go forward. And we're going to be reminded how important it is to think about and number each day that we live so that as we go through these quarters, we are wise. And then we're going to look at some aging solutions. How is it that we go about looking at those aging solutions? So, meet Jane. Da-da-da. The granddaughter of Stella and Vaseline. Stella on your left, Vaseline on your right. Stella lived to be 99. And about 2 days before she passed away, she had served as the chair of the something at the church. Vaseline lived to be 106. And a couple of days before she died, she was writing letters to Maynard Jackson telling him how to be an efficient mayor of the city. When they both passed away, and I was in my 40s, I said to me, given the legacy of the family, woe is me, I've got 60 years to live. What do you do with 60 years? What do you do with the rest of your life? Woe is me. I've got 60 years to live. Of course, I have these pictures up here that are examples of what we look like. The horrid picture of yourself when you're 12 or 11. That's a girl's worst time in life. That first quarter. And then while I was at Spelman College, we'll talk about what that means. Second quarter, which is 26 to 50, just counting the numbers somewhere around that. What we look like, what we're doing, sort of coming into ourselves. The third quarter, if we consider it to be the 50 to 75, and what we mature into, and what it is that you want to become in that time. Excuse me. And so, as a first-year baby boomer, I was looking back and trying to think in terms of what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And what did that daydream look like that I had when I was 8 years old? Well, I was 8 years old. I was awfully glad that I was maturing. Because even though I had that grand life that you all heard about, let me tell you what, this stuff here is bad. Because life kicked my butt. In every way it could, it kicked my butt. And what one of my gifts was every time I got kicked down and stomped on without much of a posse, I was able to get back up on my feet. Each and every time I was able to get back up on my feet. But I'm always saying, oh, I can't wait to get to be 50 and older. And when I got to 50, much to my disappointment, but I took on 2 career challenges which were the worst decisions in my life. And I thought to myself, oh, my daydream is not true. I cannot get my daydream to come. I thought that as I got older, that the daydream would be one that was possible. I turned 50, and brothers in the room, excuse me, but things dropped that used to stand up. Things cracked that used to not crack at all. There were lines, and there were rows, and there was a memory that was just gone forever. And that wasn't what I saw in that daydream. Oh no, she was about 130 pounds. Nothing had dropped. Nothing had rolled. And so I was wondering about that dream. But then just in the middle of it, I woke up in the morning one day in my early 60s. And there I saw a new light. It was something about that morning. I don't know what it was. But there was a new light. There's a story about many things. But for me, Sojourner Truth, that she was just struggling and going forward and just trying to make it in life. And that one day through the trees, for no reason that she could understand, she saw a light. She knew then that no matter what was going to come every day, I can do what I need in the traveling of these people. And there that was, and that was the light for me. And so I decided, all right, Jane, you're going to have, with this presentation you want to do, a second act, a second chance in life, which is going to be based on not being 49, 30, and 20, but being older. And that you're going to create an authentic self where when you walk in a room, people will know that is a senior woman who is not trying to be young and not trying to hide her age. That when you walk into a room and you talk your talk, people are going to know that woman is experienced and wise. I bet her butt was kicked a few times along the way. That people would know my story from my presence. They would know my story from my voice. And they would know that all of that could be very powerful. It was then that at 65 years old, I got my voice, and that's why it's called Jane Smith Speaks. Some people think it's Jane Smith Speaks because of the dream or because a talent of mine is about speaking. But it really is Jane Smith Speaks because I got my voice. I got my second act. I got my opportunity to come back around. And with that came some things about going into the 4th quarters. I believe with all of my heart that it takes a good, strong, faithful person to achieve in each one of these quarters. I believe that. And when I talk to people, I'm looking for the mighty. I believe that an examined life is worth staging. That's a Lynn Redgrave quote. An examined life that we need to look back and carefully examine in each of the quarters or overall what that life is about. And then we need to stage it. Theater, drama, be good at it. Be good at it. Think about it if you were in your 1st quarter, you're getting ready to go into your 2nd because you're finishing Georgia State. Stage it. Act it out. Make it theater that 2nd quarter.